Thanks for. Oh, got it. Okay. So thanks for inviting me to this. It's great to actually have an opportunity to talk to employers about the new civil engineering apprenticeship, because we find ourselves quite kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place, that we have a validated program, but we can't actually advertise it or anything yet until the industrial training order is complete. So I'll go through that on the presentation as well. So, yeah, ATU have developed a civil engineering apprenticeship at level 6 and level 7. We're also going to be looking at the level 8 and 9 as well, but we're getting this up and running first of all. So I suppose the rationale behind the actual development of these programs were that there's a severe shortage being reported by the industry, and that's at every level, from level 6 technician level right through to level 9 chartered. And companies are saying, like in order for us to meet our commitments to Project Ireland 2040, to the Climate Action Plan, and to Housing for All, we need a significant increase in the number of graduates in the civil engineering profession at every level. So in the period of 2008 to 2018, there was a significant decline of graduates in civil engineering and construction, and that dropped from like around about 2,200 in 2008 down to around 780 in 2018. So there's a huge gap there that hasn't been filled, and because of that, civil engineering has actually been added to the critical skills list in Ireland to allow civil engineers from other countries to actually get visas so that they can actually come and work in Ireland, which is a problem because we should be getting our own people at work as well. So we thought, well, how do we do this? So initially, I suppose our road to apprenticeship, we had applied for and were granted HCI funding, Human Capital Initiative funding. Eamon would be aware of this. And we had said that we were going to develop a work-based learning program for civil engineering. So we went out, we were speaking to companies and saying, right, well, what do you want? And, how would this work for you? And when we were talking to industry and to Engineers Ireland, we became aware then that the actual 1967 Industrial Training Act was actually under review. Previously, civil engineering or any designated profession could not be taught as an apprenticeship in Ireland. And this was, Engineers Ireland had seen this to be a barrier. So they had actually had lobbied the ministers to see, can this Industrial Training Act be changed to remove certain wording from the Act that was actually preventing civil engineering and other designated professions from being taught as an apprenticeship. So this was happening, and so we started looking at apprenticeships in more detail and thought, okay, do we proceed on with our work-based learning, or do we look at apprenticeships? And just from looking at it, there's huge government support with the Climate Action Plan for Apprenticeship that was launched by Minister Harris. There's a huge commitment by government to increasing the number of apprenticeships, but also to increase, the accessibility of apprenticeships to people throughout Ireland. So we thought, yeah, that's a good idea. So we went back to industry, and through our contacts in industry, an industry consortium was formed to drive the actual development of these programs. So our consortium is made up of main employers or employer groups within civil engineering. So we have the Civil Engineering Contractors Association, we have the Construction Industry Federation, the Association of Consulting Engineers of Ireland, Irish Water, Transport Infrastructure Ireland, and the Local Government Management Association. We also have a representative from Engineers Ireland purely as in an advisory capacity to make sure that, that we kind of keep the Engineers Ireland accreditation criteria kind of to the fore of our development. So because eventually we will be looking for accreditation for these programs. We've also had conversations with other, I suppose, parties outside of the actual consortium, such as the OPW and the ESB and larger employers as well, Irish Rail as well. So the initial proposals were submitted to the National Apprenticeship Office, and we were granted the go-ahead for development of the 6 and 7 in August 2022, and we're granted development of the 8 and 9 in September 2022. So we thought, right, we'll get the 6 and 7, get it developed and get it rolled out, and then we'll do the 8 and 9. So it's going to be done in like 2 blocks. So we formed a few workshops between industry professionals and the academics to actually, work on the detailed design of the programme. We thought this was very important because we need to design a programme that not only provides the learner with the requirements for a level 6 or 7, but it also works for the industry in which they're going to be working, so that, that the apprentice, I suppose, can be a benefit to the company from the very beginning. We just got our validation of the programs in April, and at present now it's with Solace to actually create the industrial training order, because this apprenticeship, or these apprenticeships, are in a brand new field. We have to actually have an industrial training order, and what that is it's the statutory document that actually allows apprentices to be hired on an apprenticeship. So it has to be in place before we can actually recruit anybody onto the programme. So the plan is that industrial training order will be complete by June. And then we have to do a briefing session with the authorised officers in the ETBs across the country. And then once that briefing session is complete, the programme goes live on apprenticeship.ie. So I suppose it's really important, like the central part to any apprenticeship is the apprentices and the employers. Without apprentices or without employers, it's not going to work. So, it's key that we take the feedback from both the apprentices and the employers and work on that to develop a really robust program that's delivering, a really comprehensive program. And that was taken into account when we were actually designing the program as well, like what would work for apprentices and what would work for employers. So we came up with a program design then that it would be at the beginning of each year, there would be 1 week residential where the actual students would come to campus. So initially that will be Sligo, but then it will be rolled out nationally after the pilot is complete. And in that 1 week residential, they'll do a series of project-based learning, but they'll also be introduced to the work-based learning theme, because each year is going to have a theme for the work-based element of the actual apprenticeship. In that week as well, mentor training will be provided to the mentors for the apprentices. And the lectures then going forward after that 1 week residential will be delivered online on 1 day per week. And then in addition to this, on 1 day per month, they'll actually have to attend campus, which it will be a Friday to minimise disruption to employers and to the apprentices, and where they'll actually have to come to campus and actually do their labs and workshops. They'll get supplementary material during the month as well, so that when they actually arrive to campus to do their labs, they'll be ready to hit the ground running, because it's going to be a very full day on those labs and workshops days. And then the workplace learning will be carried out with their workplace mentor and supervisor, and they'll be given a pack of the information that's actually required of them. So if we look at the programme layout, we discussed with employers, right, well, what do you think? Like, if you were to hire somebody coming straight in from, say, school right now, what would be the first job that you'd actually give them? So majority of contractors were like, well, they'd be given surveying work to do, and the majority of consultants would be like, oh, well, they'd be doing CAD, being a CAD technician, doing up CAD drawings. So we rearranged the typical layout of a full-time program and pulled it that the modules that they will be taught first off the bat will be their engineering, graphics and computer-aided design, their surveying, and along with maths and mechanics. And you'll see in that residential week in the beginning, the actual theme for the first year is an introduction to engineering and health and safety. We thought it was, appropriate that any new employee within a company is given their health and safety briefing and their health and safety induction by that company. So why don't we incorporate some of that into the actual work-based learning, because they're doing it anyway, and it is actual learning that they're doing. So the work-based learning will be a series of case studies, projects, reflective learning journals, and a HR review. I'll go through that in a couple of slides. So the theme in the first year is Introduction to Health and Safety, Introduction to Engineering and Health and Safety. The theme in the second year will be Professional Practice in Engineering and Sustainability Development Goals. And the theme in the third year is Civil Engineering, Management and Finance, which is the differentiation between an engineering technician with Engineers Ireland and the associate engineer with Engineers Ireland. There's just that bit extra of management and finance in that third year. And then they get taught their core modules then. So they'll do 20 credits each semester where they're actually taught the core, and then they have their work-based learning. So a typical student week will be that they will have lectures 1 day a week. So maybe that's a Monday, not necessarily a Monday, but it'll be 1 day a week. And they'll do a full day of lectures. So it's 4 modules, 2 hours per module, give or take. It's a pretty full day, but all the modules, all the lectures will be recorded. They're not recorded so that the students can do them on a Wednesday or Thursday. The HEA and the apprenticeship office are very keen to make sure that this is not, it's not treated as a part-time course. They should be in their lectures on the day that the lectures are online. But it's there as an added tool for the actual apprentice to go back and revisit something that they've covered in a taught module, and use it as a study aid when they get close to the end of the year and they might have, you know, exams or courseworks to submit. So, you know, it should be that added resource there for them, that, it's there as a study tool, as well as just for them to be able to reflect on what was actually taught, because it is a very full day. So on the Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday and Friday of that week, they will have their work-based learning, but they'll also have some directed learning from the taught modules that they'll have to apply in the workplace. This might be very small in certain modules, could be a bit more sizable in others. Obviously, this will be built up on year to year. So in first year, these are all very descriptive, and it's more the softer skills that we're looking at. And then as the years go on, they become more technical. So that's a non-lab week. On the lab week, which is once per month, they'll have their typical lectures on their Monday, same as normal. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday is the work-based learning. And then on the Friday, they'll have to actually travel for the next year anyway, to Sligo to undertake their labs. So they'll do their labs and workshops on the 1 day per month. Again, a very full day. It'll be from 9 until 6 on that Friday, where they'll carry out all their labs and workshops. And then the work-based learning is assessed typically in 3 main ways. You have a HR performance review. This HR performance review will actually be drawn up and given in the employer's pack so that we have consistency across the board. The aim of the HR performance review is to assess those really important, I suppose, softer skills, such as their timekeeping, their communication skills, their integration within the company, all those kind of, I suppose, softer skills that we will not be assessing in any other way will actually be assessed through that workplace, the HR performance review. Then there will be an industry related case study. So if we take first year, for example, where they will be doing that the theme for the first year is an introduction to engineering and health and safety. So what an employer might do is, or the mentor might discuss with the apprentice, right? Why don't you look at something that we do? So we'll say if it's trench support, look at how we're doing that, supporting those trenches. Is that the most efficient and safest way of doing it? So I suppose it's to be a bit of a benefit to the company and say, well, it's fresh eyes looking at it. They've learned they've learned the health and safety legislative bit in that induction week. And maybe they can just take an activity that the company does and review it. Maybe what the company does is the best way of doing it, and then that's absolutely fine. But maybe there's another way, and And that should be of benefit to both the apprentice, because they're learning to kind of think outside the box, but also to the employer, because it's fresh eyes looking at an activity that is done on a daily basis. And then the last part of the work-based learning is the technical project. And what the technical project will involve is taking some of the taught modules and applying it to a workplace scenario. So it's not necessarily that it's something that their employer is doing, but they have to do a technical project on something. So in first year, it should include some CAD and some surveying, so that is actually, you're showing that you can take your taught modules and actually apply them in the workplace. And with the workplace assessment, there's each employer, a mentor and apprentice will be given a pack at the beginning of each year that will clearly set out what is required of them for that year. So I suppose it's what we've now dubbed the steps to success. So I suppose what it is if you've got Leaving Cert graduates or career changers, then we think that this path of this apprenticeship is really good, because it gives that flexibility to the learner. So they enter in at the beginning, and they can do 2 years, and that'll leave them with the educational standard for engineering technician, a level 6 in civil engineering. At that point, they can go out into the industry, finish up their apprenticeship, go out into industry and work as a level 6 if that's what they wish to do. If not, they can stay on, they can reapply or re-enroll on the level 7 and do an extra year to get them to the level 7, which is the educational standard for associate engineer. And then they can go out into the workplace full-time and work away as an associate engineer. Or the plan is in the next year to have the level 8 and 9 developed. They can stay on and do their level 8, which is another 2 years after the level 7. And that'll give them the educational standard for chartered engineering with further learning. Or they can do their level 9, which gives them the full educational standard for chartered engineer. Now, obviously, this is subject to getting accreditation from Engineers Ireland down the line, but we've put an awful lot of thought into the actual development of these, that we're hitting the Engineers Ireland accreditation criteria within every module to try and make sure that it's a formality at the end, hopefully, but it is hopefully. So I suppose that's the end of my presentation. I'm happy if anyone has any questions. I'm happy to take them.